Hello Automators, thanks for tuning in again. Right down below me here is an Amazon Echo Show 2nd generation. I'm going to show you a full unbox and a setup and all of the basic functions that you want to get using with this device. Everything from music, video, the calendar, lists, reminders, alarms, and everything else that I think you want to do on day one of getting your Echo Show started and set up in your home. Let's go ahead and get the Amazon Echo Show 2nd generation opened up. As with every Amazon product in general, the box is very simple and you can just simply pull the product out using the handle. So there's the product sitting right there. And inside the box still, you do still have a couple things. There's your power adapter, and really that's it. Here's the Amazon Echo Show manual that you go and get. And there's of course a warranty manual as well. And after that, I mean, that's it. In terms of the power adapter here, it is a 100 to 240 volt power adapter and it is 30 watts. So it is relatively large when we compare this adapter to some of the, smaller Echo Dot type devices. So there's the adapter, and now we just have the wrapping physically on the screen. So on the device physically itself, and I'm going to try and make sure you can see this, but there are microphones up on the top here, and then right in the middle is a camera as well. So that's one of the big features with the Echo Show. Now on the very top as well, there's a volume button, up, down, and then this is the mic and the camera on off, so this is allowing you to toggle those features as well, and you can see more mic ports there as well. Now physically the device is a bit weighty, and on the back you have, this is a Kensington lock port, so you're able to lock this down a lot like a laptop. This is your power port, which is the provided power adapter, and this is a micro USB, and I don't actually know what we're going to ever use that port for. It's interesting actually. So that is there, but unused as of now. Now physically on the device as well is a ZigBee hub, and that's important to keep in mind because if you have any existing ZigBee devices in your home, you can go ahead and connect them directly with your Echo Show. Now, as I get the device plugged in, the setup process is very interesting. It's basically all setup on the device itself. The only thing you're going to need is your Wi-Fi password and a little bit of basic information, as well as your Amazon account name and password. So at first you can see it setting up the Wi-Fi setup here. It's asking for my password, and it's asking me if I want to save that password to Amazon for next time setup or another device's setup. Now let's take a minute here and stop at the Amazon account, and the reason I say that is because you're going to want to use whatever you've used in the past with the Amazon application. Now if you don't already have that Amazon application, it is the name of the voice assistant, which I'll put on screen now, but you're going to want that application on your phone. You don't have to necessarily use that right away, but if you don't have an Amazon account already, you can see it saying down at the bottom here to visit amazon.ca in my case because I'm in Canada and create a new account. From there you're going to use that same account in the application on your smartphone or tablet. But for now, just put in the credentials if you already have them, and if you don't, go and create that new account and then come back here and type in those credentials. Once you've done that, it basically registers the device to your Amazon account, and it starts the next part of the setup process, which is of course accepting their terms and conditions that they have, setting up your time zone or your initial time zone, which you can always change later, but you can go ahead and start that process now. Now you have to name the device, which is a very simple choice for you. I'm just going to leave it as Brian's Echo, and now it's going to go through an update process.
Updating this device.
As it does that, you'll find a number of reboots have to occur. You'll also find that the device turns on and off a few times. It's doing a number of different things, and then it goes through an optimization process that does take another 5 or so minutes. Once that's all done, and you just have to be patient through all of this, you get an introduction video from Amazon, and you could sit and watch that for 2 minutes. It tells you a number of different things that the device does. So it's actually a great introductory video for your Echo Show. Once that video is complete, essentially you are completely set up.
This device is ready.
When you start tapping on screen, it doesn't do a lot unless you swipe from the top. You can also swipe from the left to adjust screens, and there's other ways to interact with the device as you use other portions of it, like the web browser. But when you swipe down, you can see there's the brightness buttons here, but it doesn't seem to do a lot. Now, there is settings that I'll show you in a few minutes here to actually make that brightness do something. In that same menu that you pull down, there is the alarm section, and then it has already brought in all of my devices that were set up in the Amazon application on my phone in previous videos that I've done and in previous things that I've added to the Amazon account. Here are the routines that I already have set up as well. And so when you have these things already created in your application, they're already going to show here. Now, the settings up in the top right, this is why you don't actually have to do a ton in the Amazon application. We're going to start inside of the display settings here because I just want to show you how to get your brightness to the right level. So you can turn off adaptive brightness, and this allows you to actually adjust the brightness significantly on the device. The adaptive brightness is using a lighting sensor on the screen. Now I'm going to turn off my adaptive brightness, but in general, I'll tell you the adaptive brightness is very good. Now, of course, you want to set up the different sounds on your system. You can adjust the actual sound level with the buttons on the top or on here, and you can also make the alarm timer and notifications level different than others. Now, you can also make adjustments like what is the actual sound of the alarm, and they have some presets that you can go ahead and listen to.
Get up now! There's a Sharknado coming!
There's a couple of fun things, but in the end, I just left mine at the simple alarm. Once you've done that, you also have the option of turning off notifications, or basically the sound turning off for notifications, and you can have a start of request and end of request sound play as well. Now, there's a ton of other settings to go through. Communications, there's a do not disturb mode that you can turn on, and you can schedule that. So that's a nice way to make sure that nobody's dropping in on a device, or that you're not hearing notifications all the time. You can set a standard schedule every day. The device options, you can actually see the device location in here, the language, the wake word, which you can adjust to 4 things that Amazon allows you to do. You also have the date and time, and there's your chance to adjust the time zone, temperature, distance. You have some website options, so what you allow, and then you also can disable the camera entirely if you'd like on this. You can then pair remotes, gadgets, and you can check for software updates. That's just a brief rundown of the device options. You'll want to play around in there. You can also restrict access to a number of different services, so you can stop the web browser from working at all. There is a web browser on here, actually a couple of web browsers, and you can block certain video providers as well. Now, of course, I'm in Canada, so we have a bit of a different list than other countries. Inside the accessibility section, I do want to show you one thing. There are a number of good functions there, but the tap to is an excellent thing to enable on your device. It leaves you that icon up in the top right that you can actually just tap on and bring up this screen, and that allows you a number of quick functions to go ahead and get to, and you can add other quick functions as you go, including custom commands. Now, I want to show you one of the list functions and how good this is on an Echo Show. So when you tap on the to-do list, you just go ahead and it reads out the different items on your to-do list. Not only that, but you can check off items by simply swiping to the left. And you can tap inside of items to go ahead and edit them. Now, of course, you can use your voice to add new items as you see fit to the to-do list, to the shopping list, and other lists. But there's also different buttons here on the tap function. You can, of course, use your voice to ask for your sports update, but here's a demo of me tapping on that and getting a fairly significant sports update with news items as well. Now, also on here, you can set up timers. And of course, you can use your voice for all of this with your voice assistant as well. And you can manage all of those timers. But you can see on the interface as a timer is running, it's up in the top right. Cancel timers.
Cancel which timer? 1 minute or 2 minutes?
1 minute.
1 minute timer canceled.
There is also the ability to set alarms through your device, and this is a very standard thing that people want to do. You can set a repeating alarm, or you can just set a single alarm and hit
Alarm
done.
set for
And again, that
10:01
alarm
p.m.
shows up top right when you go back to the home screen. We're going to go into the Amazon application here on your iOS or your Android device. It really doesn't matter. Now, if this is your first time logging in, then you got a login screen or the first time using the application. But we're going to go through a number of different settings to set up things like music, your calendar, and other things. I'm not going to go through the application fully, but this will give you a good idea of how to use it. So up in the top left, I hit the button there, and that's the menu button. Now I'm going to go into settings, and there's a number of different things in here, but we're going to start with music. So tapping on music, we're going to go in and it will show you the different services that are available in your country. If you don't see a service here, it's not available in your country. Now, you can see I've already linked multiple accounts. You can see Amazon Music and Spotify, but if you haven't linked an account, you simply have to tap in, and I've tapped into Spotify, and you can go ahead and link that account by putting in your username and password here. So once you've done that, you have to choose a default music service. When you do that, you can just simply tap the radio button of the music service you'd like to use as a default, and that means you don't have to specify the service name. So because I've chosen Amazon Music, when I ask my device to play music, it will go from Amazon Music. If I wanted Spotify to be played, I would have to say play a certain artist or a playlist or a station on Spotify, and that's the only way to cause that to happen for Spotify because it's not my default music service.
Here's a playlist you might like. Best of Foo Fighters on Amazon Music.
Back in the menu here, let me show you the flash briefing capability. So you can see I have 3 different sources of content that I'm using for my flash briefing. If I'd like to turn one off, I simply tap on the button there, and I can also hit the edit button up in the top right to go ahead and then rearrange the order of which these are played when I ask for my flash briefing, which is essentially news. Now, if I need another content source, I can hit the plus button, and then you get what is essentially the Amazon App Store or the Skill Store, and you could go ahead and add additional news sources simply by tapping in and then hitting enable to use, and you have to wait about a second, and then it will show up here in your list of sources for your flash briefing. What's my flash briefing?
Brian, here are the stories you haven't heard yet today. From CBC News Edmonton.
I'm Don Bell. There's been a 4.6 magnitude earthquake in central Alberta.
From CTV News, Here are the top stories.
Setting up traffic is based on where you're coming from or where you're going from and where you go to. You can add stops as well along the way. So this is basically your from address or your home address and your work address. And if you had a stop, you can get that every day. The sports is a very similar thing. So you can go ahead and add your different sports teams that you like to follow, and then you can ask for your sports update. The calendar is one of the most requested capabilities and is very excellent on an Echo device as well as an Echo Show. Now you can see that I have one account linked right now. It's my Google account, and you can also link Microsoft and Apple services. So I'm going to go into the Apple service here, and it gives you the steps to actually add in that email account. So I could go ahead and I could continue through this process, but essentially you just have to follow the steps. It's a little bit complex for Apple. It's a little less complex for Google and Microsoft. But once you've added, and you can add multiple accounts, once you've added those accounts, you have to choose which one new events would be added to. So you tap that little drop down arrow and you get the list of accounts and calendars that you've connected, and you simply choose the one that you want to add to. So you can only add to one calendar, but you can get your list of events from multiple calendars simply by asking. What's on my calendar for today? Add an event to my calendar.
Sure. Which day and what time?
Today at 2:45.
And what's the name of the event?
Get my kid.
I'll schedule Get My Kid today at 2:45 p.m. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, I've added that.
Back inside the menu in the Amazon application, there is the lists function, and this is very powerful. You can, of course, do all of this on an Echo Show, but you can see that you can create a list and you can go into your default shopping and to-do lists, and then you can manage them. So you can swipe left and right. Swiping to the right removes the item, or basically checks off the item rather. And swiping to the left, you can do a web search. And then you can also hit delete, so that just removes it. You can, of course, add items as well to any list. Now you can see my video ideas list, which is a custom list, and I can go ahead and tap on any of the radio buttons, and then it will remove that item from my list. If I want to bring it back, I can do the same down below. And of course, I can add items. Now, all of this you can do by your voice, and with the Echo Show, you have the visual interface, which is very nice. On top of that, the reminders and alarms is based on per item. So you can see it says Brian's Echo Show up at the top, and as I tap that, I can switch between devices. So as you create reminders and alarms, you need to be on the right device, or you won't see those reminders and alarms on your device. Now you can go ahead and add a reminder. It can be a repeating reminder, and you can choose every day, weekends, weekdays, or a specific day, and then you can choose time, and again you can choose which device you're being reminded from. You can add alarms and timers as well, but the alarms are managed here and on device, while the timers are just managed physically on the device itself. Communicate down at the bottom. This is where you can go, and your screen will show up differently on your first entry into this part of the application. You will actually be asked to enable this, or while you were setting up your device, you could have been asked to enable communication, drop in, and all of these functions. So you have 4 functions here: the call, the message, the drop in, and the announce function. Now call, once you've synchronized all your contacts, which you can do up in the top right, and I'll show you that in a minute, but once you have all your contacts here, you can call essentially anyone on your contacts list. You can message people in your contacts list who have an Amazon account and have a device with this feature enabled on it. So you're not going to see all of your contacts, but then you can message them. You can also drop in on any of your devices that are connected to your Amazon account, so you can have a conversation basically between two devices, and you can announce either by text, which will have the voice assistant speak the words you've typed in, or you can hit that little microphone button and record something that will play out on all of your Amazon devices. Now, up in the top right, this is where you get your contacts loaded, and you can set your own profile as yours, and that helps people to contact you through messaging and phone calls, as well as video messaging as well, or video phone calls as well. The play section of the application also gives you another way to start music, manage music, and you can also go back in through this card right here to link your accounts. The devices section of the application allows you to add additional smart home devices. So you can simply tap add device, and then it will ask you what type of device, and you have to go through and choose some of the settings and link your account there. You can also add a group, and this allows you to group devices together essentially in rooms or in different ways as well. So if you want to break up items in different ways, you can. You can see some of the groups I've created: bedroom, kitchen, office, and then you do get some buttons on certain ones of those to actually manage your smart home devices. Now, you can also set multi-room speaker groups, and of course you can add your Echo Show to these groups. So we could create an office group and load up all of our different devices, and we can choose multiple devices to play on our office group. So now if I'd like, at any time, I can ask for music or content to be played on that group. So for example, for music, I can say play Foo Fighters on Office group, and once this is set up, it will play on both of those speakers. So now down at the bottom, you can actually see my Office multi-room music group, which is different than the group I created before a long time ago for Office. I would actually have to edit that group and then add in my Echo Show, in this case, to that Office group. One more thing to talk about when we're talking about adding devices. With an Echo Show, if you have a ZigBee device, because there is a ZigBee hub, you can add that device directly here. You don't need another hub, another Samsung SmartThings hub to manage those ZigBee devices. Now, an Echo Show can also be added to a stereo pair or a subgroup, so you could go ahead and continue. I would have to break apart my current sub pair, but you can see that I can choose my Echo Show, and if I had two of them, I could add them along with the Echo Sub. Bring up Amazon Prime Video.
Here's Prime Video.
Now, of course, you can use this device with a number of the Amazon connected services in terms of video, but when you actually go and search and ask about YouTube, it doesn't work right off the bat. You have to go about this a bit of a different way. In this case, it didn't actually bring up anything from YouTube. It uses Bing search to basically go out and find videos that match your search request. Now, once you ask to bring up Firefox or the Silk browser, and you'll get a prompt to basically choose which browser you want to make your default, but if you just ask to bring up the browser, then you can bring it up, and there is a quick link already created that allows you to go straight to youtube.com, and then you can search on there, go to any video, you can play on full screen, or you can use different controls, the same things that you have on YouTube all the time, because essentially you are using a Firefox browser here in this case. So there's a lot of capability there. As well, you can ask for movies in and around you, and this will actually show you what's playing. And if you go into any of the movies, it will show you the theaters closest to you when those movies are playing. So great service there. Now, of course, you can ask to search for different items. You can also ask general queries, but if you ask for items that would have things that Amazon sells on their site, it will actually bring that up and you can purchase directly from there. You do have to set up some additional things, but this gives you a visual interface to actually look through the different items, and you can scroll through and go into the different items that you can buy from Amazon. All right, guys, there you go. Everything's all set up here now. Of course, we've got to go through a review, a comparison versus some of Google's devices and some of the other smart displays on the market. We have a ton to go through with this device. I also have to show you all kinds of integrations with everything from WiseCam to ZigBee sensors, and we're going to do a ton with this device because it is an excellent device and I'm really excited to have it in my home. So thanks everyone for watching, and we're gonna see you next time.